Good
Oh
evening.
my gosh.
It's been a
Guess
while, huh?
who's back? Back again. CPJ, first one in the comments. Yes, so glad you're back. And I'm glad to be back. I'm excited. Um,
Trying to
Jamie, thanks for
share
coming
social
on with me
medias.
tonight. So I
Yeah.
originally had one guy that, okay, cool, thank you. I originally had a guy scheduled to be my co-host, and his son had a basketball game, and so he couldn't come on. But anyway, CPJ, Shay's back. Sylvia Jennings, thanks for being on here. Joanne, how's it going? Oh, I love you guys so much. So I have like this jam-packed show, and I mean, some of the stuff that I'm going to tell y'all, it's honestly, it's really unbelievable. But anyway, so yes, I'm back. And I had a few of you guys check on me, and that I really appreciate that. Thank y'all so much. As I mentioned on the social undistancing show last night, there's a podcast that's going to release tomorrow that I was on with Cindy and Kat
Oh,
over
it's
with True
tonight.
Hauntings and Ghost Stories.
It
It's
released tonight.
tonight?
Yeah, I
She,
saw it earlier.
she said the
I didn't get.
24th.
I
Oh,
saw it
really?
on in YouTube. I could see it where I could play it, but I was like, oh, I'll watch. I'll listen later because I was gonna get
Oh, okay,
ready for
cool.
tonight.
Okay, so yeah, you guys, you can get, I guess, I think they're going to start streaming. I think they've been strictly podcasts, but now I think they're going to broadcast. So I'm not sure if that episode was a broadcast, but anyway, so yeah, it's going to be on there. So I'm excited about that. They cater to all Lubbock stories, which is pretty cool. I'm sorry, Texas stories, and then there was some Lubbock in there, but anyway, so let's see. Okay, CPJ says before you start, can we have a talk sheet gathering? Oh my gosh, the LBK, the Hollis court case, like the Depp case. Can we go? Listen, okay. And I honestly, I don't know why I forgot to, because I was going to do an update. I did an update on some local cases. So yes, we should totally do that. CPJ, tell me when, and we'll go. Maybe his sentencing. So, Jamie, the
Yeah.
Hollis case that CPJ is mentioning is a local Texas Tech student who shot a police officer, shot and
Oh my
killed a police
gosh.
officer.
Here in
So
town? Are
now,
they in
four
town?
years later, yes, yeah, here in town. So now,
Oh,
4 years later, he's finally now, I think it's been 4 years, he's finally now going to court. And so it was funny because the other day at church, Father mentioned this case, and he said, um, could this have been prevented? And the reason he said that is because, you know, we as humans don't like to be corrected. So this kid was on drugs. His parents knew he was on drugs. His friends knew he was on drugs, but no one corrected him or helped him to try to change. So that's why he was asking, can we be corrected? And so, I mean, it's pretty powerful when you sit back and reflect on something like that. Could we have changed? Could we, as his friends, of course not we, but just the general consensus, changed the trajectory of his life? And
hmm
this essentially the officer that passed away. But anyway, so yeah, he's currently in court. um I want to say he's about to be sentenced, but I can't remember. I didn't look into that one. But anyway, what I have been doing is binging um court cases. I've been
Okay.
watching, like, oh my gosh, Judge Maybelline, Judge Marilyn Millon, I mean, Christina Perez, I mean, just stuff.
I
And
don't. A lot of these names aren't familiar to me. Are they like Judge
because
Judy or
there's a
real
ton of
like?
them. They're like Judge Judy's. Yes, they're all like that. They're all like
So
all
they're
those things,
actual shows
like
like you can
divorce
catch on the
court,
daytime.
paternity court. Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay.
And so that's what I've been doing. I've been binging those,
hmm
but it's so crazy how many parents are suing kids, kids are suing parents. It's unreal, the lawsuits that
For
go on.
real?
The one that sticks, yes, the one that sticks out in my mind though is something that was new to me. Are you familiar with the term LARPing
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
LARP?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay,
So live action role
so
playing.
LARP, yes, so LARP is live action role playing.
Mhm.
So two role players were in court. One was suing the other for medical expenses incurred due to an injury during LARPing. So
Okay.
apparently there's like, so Judge Maybelline was kind of like, so grown men are doing this because she wants to know, like, okay, what do you do for a living? He's like, I'm a manager at some store. And the other guy was like an
Yeah.
IT guy.
Oh yeah, they're from all walks of life, and it's not just men; it's men
Yes.
and women, all walks of life, from
Yeah.
judges and lawyers to self-employed, everything, everybody, police officers and
So,
firefighters. Yeah, it's intense. We have a
so
local club here in town
the,
too.
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and
So
at first
Judge
I didn't
Maybelline was
know
just kind of
when I
taken
moved over
aback
here.
because she didn't have,
Yeah,
well, she didn't know what it was. It was the first, and, she was like me. I'm like, what is LARPing? So anyway, these two guys go into their local park to go, what's the word?
practice,
Like
train, train.
fight. Like they were doing a
Hmm.
training, and
Yeah,
apparently they have rules where their weapons can't exceed like the weight of a PVC
yeah,
pipe.
yeah.
And so the plaintiff brought in his weapon, and the judge was like, well, how heavy is your weapon? He's like, Judge, it's within my guidelines. It's not it's not like,
It doesn't exceed
what's
the
the word I'm
limit.
looking for? It doesn't exceed the limit. And so then the defendant, or the claimant, I'm sorry, was like, she asked him, she's like, well, where's your weapon? He's like, well, I didn't injure him with it. And so anyway, so apparently he claims that he sustained to the tune of like $1,500 on medical expenses. So I think she was just like, you're wasting my time, and basically dismissed the case. But that just opened up a whole new world for me. Like, I had no idea that such a thing existed and
I
that you
know.
could sue. But so apparently they signed like a waiver and all this other stuff. But
Hmm.
Carrie said, I'm with you, Sandy. What the what? Are we making up words? Totally making up words. We're making up rules. And
If
I don't know.
you're a Marvel fan, so there's a show on Net or Disney Plus, right, called Hawkeye, and it's honestly, outside of just being a Marvel show, it's a great family Christmas show to watch, actually. But
Hmm. Hmm.
toward the end, the LARPers actually make up a big piece of the story. It's pretty
Oh,
cool.
really?
Yeah,
Well,
but
so I'm glad that I know now what a LARPer is, because if I didn't know, I'd be like a noob. And then like, what? What is that?
yeah, and you're lucky you'd stumble into a LARPing session, and you'd be the less cool one, and they'd all be like, "What'd you just say about LARPing?"
Yeah,
But now that you
yeah,
know, you're gonna be
exactly.
part of the team. They're gonna be like, "Here, we got a shield for you. Here's a bag," and you're gonna be like, "Oh,
Listen, I don't know that I could do that, but okay. To each
yeah."
their own on that
To
one.
each their own. I remember when
To each their own.
Dr. Pineapples was pregnant, and I remember in Lubbock there was some too, right? So I don't remember if it was for our first or second one, but I remember looking out the window and I could see at the park across the street from, I don't remember the hospital now, but it's the one that's off of Quaker maybe and 4th or 19th. Anyway, and at the park across the street there was some folks who just looked funny. At the time I didn't know at the thing, all that. And so, and then here in town, down the street from our first house that we lived in, a whole bunch of them would gather at the university. I wouldn't say a playground, but there was a university area that belonged to a local university, and a whole bunch of them would gather there. And it's a little impressive. I'm not gonna
I've
lie,
never
just to see how
seen
many people get
I've
together
never
and you'd
seen
see
a
them.
LARPing activity.
And
Never
so
seen that.
they would LARP often. So it was just a, yeah. I don't know that I could get into but it'd be fun to watch and not participate, but you know what I mean. Participate in the whole thing
Yeah,
if
just
it
to be
was
a
as far as,
spectator.
yeah. There you go. Yeah, 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 yeah. So
Joanne said it used to be St. Mary's.
there
Is
you
that what
go.
you're talking
That's what it
about?
was. Yep.
The hospital,
Thanks,
St.
Joanne.
Mary's.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I've been doing because I have to that I have to do my continuing education for my true crime degree that I earned on Facebook. That's why I'm watching all these shows.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. That
okay,
makes sense now.
seriously, on a serious note though, I do want to catch you up on some interesting developments on old cases. And the very first one that like I'm totally invested in right now is that one of Madeline McCann. And I watched this Netflix special a couple of years ago, a year or so ago, and I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna try to be as brief as possible with my summary, but y'all know I'm just gonna end up telling you probably the whole thing. So, if you haven't heard or watched this episode or this particular case, in May of 2007, the McCann family and 7 of their family friends and their 5 kids all went to Portugal on vacation. And so one night, they decided what they would do is they all went out one evening as a family, and they left the children. They were all sleeping like on the first floor, and the restaurant was within view of all of their rooms. So they said, we'll go out, and then what we'll do is we'll take turns going to check on all the kids every 30 minutes. Sounds like a solid
When was
plan,
this?
right? 2007.
I remember that now that you said that, because I thought, what a responsible action to take. So at
Well,
the
I mean,
time,
because sometimes you just wanna unwind from the children, you know? So,
yeah,
like, what we'll do is, like, as the kids were older, not when they were younger, but maybe, like, 9 or 10, 11, where they were a little bit more mature, like, they could come down, like, we would leave them up and we'd go down to the hotel lobby, like, we wouldn't leave the premise, but we would and that I feel like that's kinda what they did. They came down to, like I said, the restaurant that was across the street from where they were staying. Not across the street, I'm sorry. It's, like, in the same complex. So, like, the rooms are here, these are the rooms, and then across the way is the little bar, little where they were sitting. So
okay.
anyway, so and then their plan was put into action where everybody was rotating and going out every 30 minutes. So anyway, when Kate McCann, which is um, the mom, took turns when she comes back and she's hysterical and she said Madeline is missing. Madeline or Madeline? I'm not sure of the pronunciation. Maddie. She's missing, and so that's when everything spurs into action. They search all night long into the morning, and the police are kind of really slow. They don't go house to house to check, all the little local area there. And so, one of the parents even says that they saw a man walking, like carrying a small child, but was like covered up to her like chest and stuff. So she can't say like, oh, it was Madeline, or oh, it was a girl, oh, it was a boy, but she did see this man with a child. And so anyway, um the sadly the case remains unsolved. Hey Chon, thanks for coming in here. He says, hi Sandy, hi Mr.
Hey,
THC.
John.
And he
Good
gave
evening.
me a heart. Thanks, Chon.
Wow.
That makes me feel special. I know,
So at least we
right?
know it's not you who he gets angry at on the other show.
Right. Right. There's a couple others that he might get angry at. So anyway, so that case has been unsolved for years. But the reason I'm telling you about this case today is because either earlier this week or last week, a girl by the name of Julia Faustina has gone viral because she's claiming that she's Madeline McCann, the girl that went missing in 2007. One of the most interesting details of this girl coming forward and saying that she believes she is Madeline McCann is the fact that Madeline had this like a red streak in her iris. And so this girl has a red streak in her iris as well. And I feel like that's a very unique characteristic because I've never seen it on anybody else other than that little Madeline on the documentary. And so if you pull up the pictures, that's like the first picture you see is this girl with beautiful eyes and that streak in her eye. It catches your eye for sure. So anyway, Julia shares her pictures and she tells that she believes that she is Madeline because she went to obtain her birth certificate and she was told that her birth certificate like doesn't exist. Her parents, the people that are, that raised her, that she knows as her mom and dad, have declined to be DNA tested. Um,
I saw
and
that.
the McCanns now are agreeing to be DNA tested, but they're not speaking out because this is still an ongoing investigation. Of course, the internet is divided as per the usual with internet divisions. Um,
I'm gonna share a picture real quick
so
while you're talking.
yeah, okay, awesome, good. Is
You can
this
keep
the
going.
one that's like the side by side?
Yeah, so everyone can see. This
So,
is
okay,
you'll see,
Joanne,
Joanne.
we're fixing to show you a
It's
picture, but yes,
I wasn't sure what
yes.
she was talking about either,
So,
y'all. And I thought, oh, okay, makes sense. Since I was going to do a search, I was going to be like, what kind of percentage population where genetics can play a role in the eyes? Because I didn't know. This is a little freaky. So,
yeah. So, I mean, you just go right to her eye, right?
yeah,
There it is. And so this girl has the same. And for clarification purposes, Carrie says, why are they declining to be a DNA tested, or did I not hear that correctly? So
I
the
haven't
girl
heard.
that's claiming to be Madeline, her parents, the people that raised her, who she knows as her parents, are declining to be DNA tested. The McCanns, Madeline's biological parents, they are consenting to be tested. Sorry, that's a little bit confusing. But the McCanns also are not speaking out on this because it's still an ongoing investigation. I think I read somewhere that there might possibly be a suspect, but there's so many things out there right now because of this girl bringing up this TikTok.
Yeah. So one of the
Were
things
you
I
going to say
read was
something?
that her parents. Oh, I'm sorry, McCain's parents, the little girl's parents,
Madeline, uh-huh. Hmm.
are they're not suspects, but they are sus because there are investigators that believe that they actually murdered her or she died on their watch and they covered it up. One of those two scenarios.
Hmm.
And so there's some whatever I'm trying to say right there. There's not 100% that,
Yes.
yeah, there's a lot of
They've not
interpretation
exactly.
here.
They've not been ruled out. They've not been ruled out
Right.
because honestly, when I watched it, I just thought this is like the most random of abductions, if we're being honest. So
But do you see the
Madeline was
eyes, y'all?
actually,
It's crazy.
yeah.
Sorry. It's
So
just, I don't know if
Madeline
you can see
was
the
no, no,
bottom
no,
of her
you're good.
eye. It's just, it's like,
No, I can
it's
see it,
like
but
the
I don't
little
know if everybody
thing
else can.
just bled out. It's like instead of the circle that encapsulates your iris, it's like the iris is bleeding over it, clear as day in that
Mhm,
little girl's right eye right there. I don't know if you can see where my
mhm.
mouse is pointing to, but in the
Yes.
older picture, it's not I won't say it's 100%, but you cannot
Can you
discount
zoom in on it?
that no, I was trying to a minute ago.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
if I hold on, maybe I can, but you can't deny that the other girl, that the older girl, you can't deny that iris is not spilling out either. It is, yeah, here, I can
Right.
zoom in on this one. Um, give me a
So,
second here.
um, while you do that, I was gonna tell. So the reason that I thought it was kind of a random abduction was because she wasn't in her room by herself. She also had her twin siblings in the room as well. And so, I have a friend that thinks that her parents might have sold her. I mean, isn't that crazy? I mean, it's so unique, very unique trait.
Very
I've never
unique.
seen it on
I thought
anybody
maybe
else.
I thought it was more like cat's eyes. I've seen people who have slits in
Oh,
there that
no.
look like that. It's a little
I
creepy,
don't know
but
if
I've
I could
seen it.
take them, like, they might scare me.
And I've seen chimerism in eyes where the iris, two eyes, two different colors,
Yes,
and even the
yes,
iris and the
mhm.
cornea, different colors too. This is, I mean,
CPJ
look,
says,
you
"Do
can
they make
see.
spill out iris contacts?"
I mean, so then again, you
I
look at
mean,
the older
honestly,
picture. It's not as defined,
Sean says it's
but
her.
he said, okay, okay.
Sean
So it's
believes
not
it.
as
Sean
defined as
believes
her,
it.
but when you think about aging, puberty, and all that other kind of stuff, you can't deny in this picture that there is her iris, or yeah, her iris It's not
Has the
100%,
same
but there
little,
is something in there right there. Right there. And
yeah.
that's not normal for folks either. So,
So I
but I
don't
mean, what do
know.
y'all think?
I'm
Look at
I'm
that.
kind of I'm before I weigh in on it, I'm kind of just like letting it play out because I feel like maybe there's like a mental health component to it. Maybe she's made herself believe like to me like the noses aren't the same and I don't really think of course I don't know a whole lot of that, but um I don't really think that your nose changes a whole lot. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I
She could
think
have
your
had
nose
plastic
changes like when you
surgery.
get
She could have had any kind of,
so her
kids these
parents tell
days.
her that she's 19, and I think Madeline would have been 21 by now.
How in the world do I get off of here?
And then another thing is that she posted a picture of her and the lady that raised her as as her mom, and
Mhm.
then the internet just tore her to shreds and saying you look just like your mother. And anyway, so she quickly took that picture down. So I don't know. I am
Yeah, I
on
think the other
pins and
part to it
needles
too is
waiting for this
why
DNA
do
test.
this
Joanne
over.
says, look at the chin." Was did I honest, I didn't even look at the chin. I was looking at like the nose and
The
stuff.
chin looks the same to
Did
me.
you look at it? It
Hmm.
does. Okay.
Is that what you were thinking too, Joanne? Because it does look the same to me. The chins look the same. The noses look slightly different. Um, Eyes also kind of look the same to me, although one seems very
Yeah.
depressed. The impression in. They say that there's some freckles in
Yeah.
there. I can't see freckles too well, so whatever on that.
CPJ says, let's look at the eye shape. Yeah. I mean, she's got like brooding eyes.
Brood.
I don't know if they've done like an age progression. I want to say that I think I saw where they did like an age progression to see what, I mean, because she's got beautiful almond eyes right here. Like beautiful almond. Is it almond
You
shaped
mean in the
eyes? I don't
baby
know what
picture?
you would call those. In her baby picture. And then
Yeah,
do lips get fuller? Because her lips are full over
yeah. They
here.
would. I mean, they would. I don't know that they'd get like super full, or whatever. But here's the other thing: is
Yeah.
this isn't
Hey,
America
Rod.
either, right? Hey,
Welcome.
Rodimus. This
No,
isn't
it's not.
America either,
It's not.
right? So that's the other part is I don't know how to distinguish that. Westerners, us Westerners, we carry a level what we think is normal beauty and all that kind of stuff. Other parts of the world, it's not the same either. So I couldn't say what those influences would have done here. But as far as the nose, like I feel like a lot of girls, not just girls, kids actually. I just feel like a lot of kids I see these days, they are getting surgeries done around their noses, not for cosmetic reasons, like so they can look, pretty or whatever, however you want to say that. But more so, I've heard of a lot of kids who get like rhinoplasty done for various breathing disorders. They also get their adenoids removed much
Oh,
younger,
gotcha.
so all that kind of stuff. So I don't know
And
if
if
maybe
she's
some of
wearing
that. What?
makeup, she might have contoured it. So there's
Oh,
that.
okay, yeah, yeah. So
I think you cut out. I'm sorry. And I think I interrupted you.
that's okay. I think there's some delay
Thanks,
between what you
CPJ.
hear
She has
from
those
me and.
V-shaped, perfect lips. I think so too,
Oh,
because
right
I thought
here,
you
right here.
stopped, and so I started talking, and then I think you continued.
Yeah, every time I talk, you keep talking. I'm like, I don't think she hears me or cares
She's
about me.
got beautiful lips for sure. No, I'm so sorry. I think it keeps breaking up, and I just keep butting in. I
That's
apologize.
okay. Yeah, I see the V at the top of her lips too. Yeah, I really think it's so hard. Like, here's the thing: it's not out of the realm of impossibility. I think that much
Right.
that can be conferred from the pictures alone, and then two, it's like okay, it's going to have to be DNA. Like, there's no other way.
Yeah.
It has to be DNA.
Yeah. I agree.
So here's the other
Joanne
thing.
says,
One of the
the
articles.
chin or the nose. I don't think the chin or the nose look alike. Also, the older girl has a deeper eye set. Yeah. And
Well,
I
and that
want to
would
say
make
she might be
sense.
wearing makeup. So
Yeah. See, I think the chins actually do look alike. I
that
think the
does have
chins
that
actually
the
look
same
alike. The
ending.
noses, I agree. I don't think they look 100% alike. Lips look alike. The eyes are too hard. The eyes are just, you know what I mean? You know how like when presidents go into
Yeah.
office and then they come out and it's like, woo, they aged, crazy.
Yeah.
That's here what I see with the eyes is like the aging is just too radical almost. Like
Yeah.
So which leads me to one of my other points was when I was reading just the little bit that I read on this about how why come out on social media to do it? What's your thoughts on that? Like some of the investigators
So
are saying
what
it's
I
red
read,
flags to do that.
mhm. So what I read was that she actually joined up with somebody to help share her story, and they suggested she do it on social media so that she could get the McCann's attention because the parents are just kind of blown away that she's saying that she's making these claims.
So that kind of makes sense, right? I
So,
guess hearing you say that, it makes me think, yeah, I guess if I was a parent like that, I probably get 100 claims a year kind of situation, right? Or anything more than,
mhm,
5 claims a year, like the emotional drag and pain that comes with that. Like, I guess, so it's not that she could reach out to them personally, because I don't know that they would take entertain the call or
right.
the claim or anything like that. So maybe that is a way. But I guess in my mind, I think, and maybe this is just a generational thought difference, right? Because in my mind, I would think, oh, okay, well then I would just need to get a lawyer and have a lawyer do that for me. Have a lawyer reach out to their lawyer to them, because you're not going to
I
ignore
want to say that
lawyers.
there was it was legal advice. I want to say that it was like some legal advice that she took to reach out to them.
And they said
I
to do it
think
over
that's what I
social
read, but I'm not
media.
100%.
Sounds like an
That's
ambulance
that's
chaser to
who
me. Sounds like an
whoever
ambulance
she connected
chaser.
with.
Hmm.
I don't know. You never know. Honestly, you
You don't.
never
You're
know.
right. You're
You
right.
never know if this girl has mental health issues. You never know if maybe
That's
she
true.
thinks that she saw something. There's just so many things that are kind of out there.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Hmm.
So, anyway, so I will keep y'all posted. Y'all stay on my Facebook page because I try to share updates and stuff on stories that are coming out. So
Stop looking at me.
my
I have it
next
blown up on this
this
screen.
oh,
Go ahead.
that
Sorry.
you blew up the picture.
Yeah. I'm like, stop looking at me.
Right.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So
Sorry.
the next case that I want to talk to you about, like, and in this series, this next case needs its own freaking episode. It's unbelievable. So we're
Hmm.
going to talk about Alex Murdaugh and the Murdaugh trials, and I'm going to try to condense it because there's so much to this. So if you guys don't know, Alexander Murdaugh is a an attorney in South Carolina, was an attorney in South Carolina. He is currently um, in at court under trial right now, at trial for he's facing charges of insurance fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, and filing a false police report. On top of the fact that he's accused of murdering his wife, his son, and the housekeeper, and
Oh my God.
also hiring someone to murder him. He testified today, and he testified that he did lie to the detectives during the
Hold on.
investigation, but
Hold on.
that
Before
he,
you continue, just for anyone who doesn't know or isn't in the know, give us a little something, Sandy, because I remember when this was going down in the news and I was like, holy cow, like when it first was going down, and it was just like, what a
right,
brutal thing that happened. And I was just like, man, and then stage 2 happened and it was like, holy crap, what the heck? And then stage 3, and then the next thing you know, they were uh, uh, arresting him, and you're like, what is going on right now? And then we're here to the trial,
okay,
and then it's still crazy. So
so
just give everyone a, yeah.
stage one is Paul Murdaugh. Paul Murdaugh is his son who was fatally shot alongside his mom. But prior to that, he was involved in a boating accident that injured 4 of the 6 and killed 1 of the 6. And his family, of course, with them being lawyers and stuff, they were able to cover it up. But his blood alcohol level was measured at like
His
3
son,
times
right,
the
Paul?
legal limit. This is Paul, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Paul was charged with 3 felony counts of boating under the influence, and he pled not guilty. Sadly, he was killed before he could stand trial. So this is number 1. Number 2, the Murdaugh's housekeeper, who had worked for them for like 20 years, falls over the stairs, and they really can't explain what happened. So Alex Murdaugh says, hey, morning children, I will represent you guys, and I can probably get y'all about 100 grand a piece. They never see any money, but it is believed that Alex Murdaugh collected 2 settlements, one for more than 500,000 and then another for like 3.8 million. So that's part number 2. Part number 3, Mr. Murdaugh comes home, Alex Murdaugh comes home, and his wife and his son have been shot. And he wasn't at home. He has no idea what happened.
His wife is 52 years old and his son is 22 years old, just for reference.
Yes. And then part number 4 on this one? 3, no. Paul Murdaugh, the boating accident.
Oh,
the housekeeper.
4.
Then his, so 4, he is changing the tire on the side of the road and he gets shot. And so the crazy thing is now he's like, well, he hired someone to do this, to stage it. So what his ultimate plan was that his one living son would be the heir to all the monies that he'd made with all these deaths. And I'm not a smart man, but don't you think that all of this is just a bit much to happen to one little person?
I remember listening, however you want to say it. I remember paying attention as all this stuff was going down, because it wasn't like it all happened in the same day, right? I mean, the police
No, this has been
showed up
years,
in the papers. Yeah. But his wife and son, like I remember reading and watching everything, and they were like, yeah, someone came to the door to their residence that evening, rang the doorbell. His wife and daughter somehow got to the door, and I don't remember the details, but somehow they got to the door for whatever reasons, and the shooter just was like, bam, bam, done, and ran away. And they were like, where were you? The idea was that he was the target, not them. And so that's what he helped proliferate that. So then X amount of time later. Go ahead.
So his alibi was that he was at his mom being her caretaker, which also has raised suspicions about her death. They're not saying that he did it, but now it's
It's not funny, but
so CPJ says, wasn't he on the way to see his dying dad when the tire thing happened? I mean,
he was a dying dad until his tires happened. Then he wasn't anymore. So I'm playing. I don't know about that, but yeah. So then X amount of time passed, and I remember because when the next news that happened was like, South Carolina lawyer whose wife and son were murdered, and an apparent hit on him suffered a gunshot wound on the side of the road tonight, or whatever. And it was like, holy geez, what just happened? And you're like. And then you start, for me at least, from the outsider, because I don't follow crime the way Sandy does, but I do pay attention to like the headlines and articles that come out like that, and I do read. And so it was like, then you read all this other stuff, all the stuff that you were mentioning, you're just like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, he's the one common denominator in all of this.
You're like, he's got a lot of what am I thinking of? He's got more lives than a cat. More
yeah.
I don't know how to put it. He's got a little bit of both there. So it's like, what in the world?
Yeah, no, it's nuts. So, and then there's been a Netflix special that has come out, where Paul Murdoch's ex-girlfriend is speaking about their volatile relationship, about the whole their dynamics, like with the family, like covering up stuff. And anyway, it it's bad. And then also on top of that, they were basically saying he was a sham of he sucked as an attorney, and everybody had to carry his weight around. So
Are you for real? That's what they
it's just one
said?
of the yeah, no, I'm serious. Yeah. And so basically the thing is just that, everybody in his family was an attorney, and he just
See, that's
passed
crazy
down, so he
because
just
I saw
basically
some
had to
news
be.
articles that were talking about how he was a well, they said he was a prominent lawyer. Maybe he was a little bit infamously prominent. Now that you put it that way.
And now he's a disgraced.
Yes, now he's a
Now that's the
disgraced
headlines
attorney.
now.
Golly.
Yeah. Yeah. So this,
Yeah,
y'all, this seriously is more twists and turns than I've ever seen. But and then y'all wonder why I don't watch movies. Why? Why when I have this? You can't even make this up, honestly.
you know why, Sandy? Is because I can't handle the thought of walking around the streets or driving around everywhere and thinking, oh, the person in that car in front of me is totally going to off someone tonight or, yesterday or whatever. And that makes me so, he's been
Jamie,
talking
promise,
about being more
I don't
paranoid.
think like that. I'm
I'm
not
sure
paranoid
you're
about
not.
anything.
I don't think
Everybody's
you're
my friend.
paranoid. I think you're more like, I wonder if they are. How I'm missing relationships with people that could be murderers right now. Jeez, that's what I think.
Exactly. We
See,
could
you're
be
so bad.
friends.
You're so bad.
CPJ says, "Oh, I can't wait to watch it tonight." Yes, let me know because I started something else, and so I'm not sure when I'm going to finish that other one. So I don't want to watch it yet. Carrie said he's a pinche Bob. Yeah, he is. Ooh, he's worse than a pinche Bob.
He's pretty bad.
Alex is one
So,
ugly looking cuss with that funky orange hair. Guilty son of a biscuit.
who's Alex? Is that his name?
Alex Murdaugh. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, how quick! I tell you, I'm bad with names.
I was like, wow, that's
Oh,
too
it's
much
even on the bottom of the
THC.
screen. I'm so dumb. Yeah, probably.
That's the first correct thing you
That's
said today.
terrible. So
So
apparently he got on the
yeah,
stand
so this
today
one,
and admitted to, or yeah, I mean, I guess admitted is the right thing to killing his son and his wife.
no, he didn't admit to that. He admitted to lying to
Lying.
detectives.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood
Mm,
that then. Okay, because it's okay.
yeah. No, because I thought that
Well,
too. I clicked on that. I was like, what?
because it shows here in
But
quotes
no.
that he said on June 7th, I wasn't thinking clearly. I don't think I was capable of reason, and I lied about being down there. And I'm so okay. I would never do anything intentionally to hurt them ever. I
Yeah,
don't know. That sounds.
well, I'm not sure what that article, who knows? Uh-oh, Joanne said, shit, I done got FB mad at me. I had to delete my comment. Really?
Oh,
Well,
it's
just play
probably
it before you actually have
we
to
didn't
go.
get to see it. No, I don't think it's that one. I think she must have put
Oh,
a
it was a
different
different
one.
one?
Yeah, and it probably the filters caught it probably and didn't let
Oh,
her, so we don't get to see it. Is that what it was,
sorry,
Joanne?
Joanne.
Or did you get or she probably got a separate message that just popped up and said, "Hey, we saw that thing you said on there. This is a warning. You
Watch
do it one more
yourself.
time." Yeah, we watching you.
That's
Freaking
funny.
Facebook. Why are you harping on the audience here? Go do something else. Get on out of here. We don't need you in here
I
right
know
now.
that's right.
Jeez.
Go to the nudes that I'd be like, so I typed in a name of somebody just looking innocently, FBI work. And then I was just scrolling. You know
Uh-huh.
how many snatches and boobs I saw? But I'm like, oh, well, we can't say one cuss word or something because then we're banned, but yet you allow all this nudity and sexual content?
I
Mm.
was like, I was looking at some like Facebook, just going through the reels or whatever. Sometimes
She said
I
this was
don't
it.
ever. Oh, okay. Wait, which one? It was the comment on that was on there. That's
The,
what it was. Yeah.
yeah.
Um. Yeah, there are times when I'll be going through Facebook ads or, the what is it called? Facebook Watch, I think is what it's called, right? And there'll be some videos that pop up. I'm like,
Mhm.
how did this get through? What is going on here? I'm like,
Exactly.
what in the
Exactly.
world? So you keep
But all
scrolling, but I'm
these
just like,
bots are quick to
yeah, to jump over Joanne's comments. So
Mhm. Okay. Are y'all ready for this one? This
I
one
don't
is
know.
about true love. So think about true
When
love.
you say true love, you made me think you saved the worst for last. If it's the best for last for you, it's the worst one. It's the one I'm going to walk away with thinking humanity's horrible. What's wrong with us? We deserve. That's
No,
what we
this
get.
is
We don't put the carts
beautiful.
back. You're going to tell me someone put the cart back. That's
Too
what you're going
bad
to
the
say.
FB police aren't on real criminals like they are on us, like flies on
Oh,
shit.
ain't
You
that
so right.
true,
You so right.
CJ?
Oh Lord. Okay, ready? Here we
Yes.
go.
Here we go.
So a couple of weeks ago, a couple celebrated 57 years of marriage.
Okay.
Despite, you want to take a guess? Financial problems,
It's always money,
cheating.
sex. I think you taught me it's always money or sex.
Yes. Love, money, or sex.
Okay. Love, money, or sex.
So it was neither of that. Despite multiple murder attempts on each other. 57 years. So you heard that correctly. This beautiful couple out of Pennsylvania, they've tried to kill each other. Like for real, tried to kill each other. He strayed from the marriage. They owned a pizza place. They had 4 kids. She found out and she hired teenage hitmen
Oh my
to try and
gosh.
help her kill her husband 5
I
times.
heard
Yes,
five
you heard
times.
me correctly. 5
Five
times. All
over the course of
failed
how long?
attempts. I'm not sure over the course of how long. I didn't get that far on that one. But the failed attempts include attempting to blow up his car, attacking him with a baseball bat. One night, she put a bottle of sleeping pills in his food. The hitman shot him twice in the back of the head,
Wait, there's a
and then
movie
the
on this,
bullet
isn't
went through
there?
the chest. Yes, I'm gonna get to that.
Oh my
The
gosh.
pills the pills slowed down his system, and he was in a
Yes.
daze, and he didn't feel a thing.
Zero
So,
pain.
5 days later, yeah, 5 days later, the police found out the plot, and she
Uh-huh.
was arrested. The husband spent 12 days in the hospital, and after he was discharged, he went and bailed her out.
He could not he did not want to
And
press charge.
he did not want to press charges, but she did go to
That's
prison for
so I
4
can't
years.
believe you bringing this
And
up.
then they did talk to each other every single day on the phone. In 1990, a movie called I Love You to Death,
Yes.
loosely based on them, came out. So they started doing they had quit talking about this in public, but they decided that they wanted to speak about their relationship, to share their story as an extreme example of the importance of communication in marriage. So, did you watch that movie? Because now I'm intrigued
Yes.
and now I want to
Yes.
watch.
So it's so funny because as you were building up the different layers of it, Sandy, I was like, oh, that reminds me of, wait a minute. Oh, wait. Oh my God. You know what I mean? So it's like, I remember the scenes and I remember thinking. And yeah, so when you were talking, I was like, holy, yeah. So for those of y'all, it was a 1990 movie. It was so weird. It starred Kevin Klein. Kevin Klein. It starred
One
Kevin
of those, and
Klein.
I just remember like River Phoenix or something.
Yes. So River Phoenix and Keanu Reeves played the teenagers that tried to kill him.
Yes,
Okay. And
yes.
Tracy Ullman was his wife. And yeah, so she gave him a whole bunch of pills and a bunch of liquor. And when he goes to bed, that's when the kids come in and they take a shotgun to his head. And
Well, and
geez,
then she tried to tell him, "Oh, you just had the flu, that's why he felt so bad."
yeah. So he keeps waking up, and it's one of those dark comedies because he kind of keeps waking up, and he doesn't have a lot of speaking roles, and they're just like, yeah, just go back to bed, honey, kind of thing. And they're like, what do we do? What do you know? Finish him off, and then they try to finish him off, and it doesn't finish him off again. The pills and the liquor combine to create this one of those just bizarre scenarios where people won't die from it because it slows down the blood, and so there's not as much oxygen that's needed,
Nothing
and then the
pumping
liquor is a
out.
painkiller, and it's just bizarre. And so yes, by the end of the movie, he's hugging the kids. He's like, hey, no hard feelings. It's okay, guys. Come here. And they're crying. They're like, thank you. We really did. We're so sorry. And he's like, it's okay. And he takes his wife back in there. It is out of this world. The guy just does not want to die. And so, yes, I remember when I watched that movie. So me being the opposite side, movie junkie, and then finding out that it was based loosely off of a true story. And you've read this, it was just like, what? Just
Yeah, it's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
And
So
reason number how many that I don't watch movies, but it's on my to watch list. So CPJ, she didn't Lorena Bobbitt him, which is
no, no, no,
crazy,
no.
right? And then what?
So here's the movie, or here's the box to the movie.
Right.
Yep, Kevin Kline. Sorry, Kevin Kline, River Phoenix, Keanu Reeves. Oh, I didn't realize it was William Hurt, Tracy Ullman, and I don't even know who Joan Plowright is, but I'm sure. But
No
there it
idea.
is. With these people trying to kill him, Joey Boca may just live forever. Yeah, he spends the entire movie basically in his pajamas, bleeding in the bed. It really is it really is a funny
Oh my gosh.
wrong movie, but yeah, yeah. That is so crazy that popped up on your radar, Sandy.
Yeah, no, it was so weird, right? So I shared that article. I want to say I shared it last week, but let me go back to this comment about Lorena
Mm-hmm.
Bobbitt. So, okay, I might have been 12 or 13 when the whole Lorena Bobbitt incident happened. So Lorena Bobbitt really wasn't on my radar. I heard about it. I remember the jokes, but that's about it. So the other day I watched a um a documentary that says I Am Lorena, and I believe it's on Lifetime. I've also gotten on a kick on watching Lifetime because Lifetime does all these movies, um, stuff that I like. So anyway, I did not know. I had no idea why she went as far as she did.
Mm-hmm.
But Mr. Bobbitt, whatever his name is, was very
John
abusive.
John Buffett.
Okay, was very abusive, took
Mm-hmm.
advantage of her working, and even made her have an abortion
Mm.
when she
That
came out
was
pregnant. I mean,
that happened a
he
bit
was a
during those
horrible,
times.
he was a very horrible man. And um, anyway, so I'm really glad that I watched it because I had no idea. And of course, looking back, you have to be super angry to do something like that. Um,
I don't even think it's
but
anger or just anger. I think it's more than that. I think there's
no,
some,
I mean,
you know what I
there's
mean? Like,
there's some there's definitely, yeah, no, there's definitely, I mean, but you're angry, you're hurt. There's a gambit of emotions for you
yeah,
to
yeah,
go through something like that.
yeah. I don't think
So
anyone
the
wakes
thing
up
about it is,
thinking, yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Like even in the
yeah,
heat of the moment kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, there has to be some significant trauma or circumstances happening to you personally or someone you love, right? In my opinion. So you know people are led to do things like that when there's a sort of, it's that whole fight or flight response. So
yes,
it just takes that one last action, and people, because this is the psychology part that I get I gravitate to. And so you think there's a lot of times we think, oh, but they never had a history of anything, any violence. Why did they all of a sudden commit this crime and the whatever? And it's like, man, you don't understand, guys. It takes just one step from that threshold, and then you're over it. So then, whatever that one last step is, it takes you from that history of not being that violent person or doing anything like that, or you can't even fathom something like that associated with that individual. It takes that one step over the threshold, one step, that one yell, that one lie, that one no more, and you can totally be on the other side now. You can totally be on the other side. And it's like, it doesn't matter what the history said. Once you pass the threshold, anything's fair. Not fair like
Yeah.
legit, but you know what I mean?
No.
Any reaction is on the table now. You don't know what that person's capable of until they've gotten over the threshold. And then it's like, geez, and it's all, and her story was believable because the jury acquitted her. She didn't do any time. She didn't get, I mean,
Right.
she got in
Well,
trouble,
because
you know what I
he, like
mean? But
yeah, so he, like, testified, like, oh, that he'd never hit her. Well, then, luckily, she got lucky with it. All the attorneys and stuff were like, they found people like, yeah, he hit her in the car. I mean, so they quickly dismantled his story and everything like
mhm.
that. But, like,
And he was a
so,
Marine
and part
too.
of his abuse, yeah, part of his
So,
abuse tactic was she was she was a resident, a green card holder. So he would always say, "I'll take your papers from you." So that, he started to destroy her like that. And she moved very, very quickly in a relationship. Red flag right there. I mean,
mhm.
no guy had ever talked to her like that. The lady that she was staying with was trying to tell her like, "Hey, slow down, blah blah blah." But to Joanne's comment, she says she wanted to strip him of his masculinity if he was that awful to her. Maybe, who knows? I mean, there's
I
something
mean,
psychological under that because he would rape her. I mean, not. I mean, he would rape her, and then he would like what's the word like um
like
is it
eviscerate her,
is
like
it
break her
sodomize?
down
Well, I mean,
mentally.
like I think he like like he forced her to have sex, like anal sex.
Oh,
And,
sodomy.
like, she had n yes, that's what I thought it was. Yeah, he, like, sodomized her and,
Mhm.
I mean, things that she never consented to, and so he's like, It's not rape, you're my wife, and you have to, submit to me," and then he cheated on her. I mean, it was just so many things, Joanne, that she put up with, and then her mom is on there too, and she comes over one day after they bought a house and stuff, and, the mom's like, Mija, try to do everything that you can to keep him happy, don't upset him.
Mm.
And he threw the biggest fit and he like dragged her in the car when she was like trying to get him to stop. Anyway, it was an awful, awful life that she lived. And honestly, he deserved what he had coming to him. Yeah,
That's hard for me to,
very, very sad.
I don't know.
I
I
know. I'm
think,
so sorry.
yeah, I don't know how to say it. I'm not saying anything against her pain. Here's my thought. Here's how I think about it, right? It's like, there's a piece of me that's like, no one deserves that amount of pain. But on the other side, it's like, and especially during that time, like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I know I was a child during that time, but I'm like, our culture, Western culture, and maybe more, but I can only speak for us. That whole idea, like that he thought, it's not rape because we're married. Like that's a prolific idea that existed for maybe even today, right? That lots of people believe, and it's like, no,
You would be
you don't.
surprised, but I actually know a person. I know one person that is like that, that interprets the Bible as you have to submit to me.
Yeah, but even in that, and
I'm
so here's the thing: is like I agree with that. My wife would agree with that. Submission does not look like
no, 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 no,
that.
no.
Submission does
Well,
not
that's
look like
okay. So
that.
he makes up his own submission,
Right. And that's
like,
where
and
the
that's all he
disconnect is.
reads.
The Bible was
Yes,
not created by a God that was like, when I say submit, that means, yeah, you've got to submit to it. Like, no, there's that's not how it goes. You know what I mean? It's like,
no,
no, you didn't. That is, what the flip is wrong with you? You know what I mean? When you
yeah,
enact evil or painful, hurtful deeds, mentally, physically, socially, all that stuff to the people you love, like the Bible's not going to come to your defense of that. That's not how it works.
right,
It doesn't excuse all that. If anything, it's going to condemn you. Just because you're the head of the household, it doesn't mean that you get, you know, uh, carte blanche on whatever you want to do to your family and all that kind of stuff. No,
Right.
No. But the way that we as in that age and before, and yeah, like you said, I guess even now, even the way that that type of mentality is allowed to flourish. You know what I mean? I was a victim of, so when my dad used to, he used to physically abuse me and would get away. And I don't mean like discipline, guys. I don't mean, you know what I mean? Like getting beat, you got beat when you got in trouble, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm
Right.
talking about physical, like getting punched in the face and in the body with fists, blood coming out, that kind of stuff. That's what happened to me when I was a kid by my father.
That wasn't the spare the rod moment.
Right. This was, and for thing like I can remember, because I was gnawing the meat off of pork chops once because we had been swimming all day. Because he caught me petting a kitten. I didn't know that was a thing I wasn't supposed to do. Because I had my pinky up when I was drinking my soda or something. Didn't know the rules that existed, but I would know immediately after because
Sounds like you kind of made it up on the fly.
uh, out of nowhere, a fist would just come flying across my face. But that would happen in public, and people would do nothing to my dad, family members, and just random strangers. No one did anything, and he was, oh my gosh. So I understand that. You know what I mean? I understand how that in that time frame, era or whatever, people looked at that and just was like, yeah, it's none of my business. What they say is true. Yeah, it isn't rape. You can't rape your wife. And it's like,
Mhm.
huh? You know what I mean? You can't abuse your children. It's like, what?
And so that was what I think that's one of the laws that, like, it had, like, just come into play about stuff like that he was trying to play on. And go watch it. It's on Lifetime. It's like I think it is. I'm
It's
Lorraine.
gonna
I
trigger
am
me, girl.
Lorraine.
I can't.
But and I mean, it's really good. It's a really good show. Joanne says, "Do
Uh-huh.
wacky do," and she did.
Yeah.
So, um, okay. So I've got time for one more update, guys.
Yeah, go for it. Sorry.
So
I'm all
the
like, ugh.
next No, 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 you're good, you're good. So my next update is, I'm sure everybody remembers the Gabby Petito case, right? So these are two kids that are um, living in an RV and blogging
They're
about it,
influencers, right?
vlogging about it. Yes, yes. So they're influencers.
This was just
Anyway,
last year. This was
so
about a
they
year
get,
ago, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm,
That's
mm-hmm.
right. That's right.
21, I
Uh-huh.
think, 2021, something like that. So they get pulled over and they're visibly shaken. It looks they've been fighting. She scratched him, he scratched her, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Brian Laundrie's the boyfriend, Gabby Petito is the
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend. Brian kills the girlfriend and then he goes missing and then he's found
Well, alleged,
unalived.
right? Allegedly, he doesn't get. Was he
Honestly,
busted?
let me put my tinfoil hat on.
I mean,
What?
we know.
So he admitted to murder in a suicide note.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So for
No,
for
he
everyone
admitted to
else
the
who
murder.
may not remember it all though, but so there was some weird stuff. He ends up running away from the law, doesn't answer to people. He ends up being, I won't say lost, but losing himself out in the wilderness and the law, and no one can find him because he was adept at living out, like like camping lifestyle and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to say he was like
Yeah,
a
no. So
woodsman,
he
but
Yeah,
okay,
no, I don't
sorry.
know. He's a blogger, he's an influencer. So anyway, he hit himself, and I
Yes, John.
personally feel like the parents helped
I agree
him
with you.
hide,
I feel that way too.
and then all of a sudden he's found unalived, and all they could compare was like a dental jaw or whatever that they found, which I feel like he's still alive and the parents helped him. Anyway,
I was gonna
whatever.
say
No one's asking me.
I thought he was still alive, to be honest with you.
Nuh-uh. He was found unalived.
Oh,
So
I must have missed
the
that part.
parents are suing for emotional distress.
Wait,
And
who
this
are they
past
suing?
week, the Petitos are suing the Laundries for emotional distress.
Petito is the daughter's family. Laundries are
Gabby Petito.
the young
Yes,
man's family. Okay, all right, and that
yes.
makes sense. So,
So they're
again, for you guys, remember the daughter's family was trying to reach out to him and to his family. They did one phone call initially or something like that, and then after that, it was just cut. No more. They wouldn't take calls.
Yeah.
They were like, "Hey, what's
Yeah.
going on? We're. Do you know where Gabby?" At this point, there wasn't a whole. There was a little bit of an alarm, but not a huge siren yet. And they're like, "Hey, where is she?" And then they just stopped contact with the parents, and they're like, "What is going on? Why aren't you returning our calls? What's happening? You're not answering your doors, your phones. What the heck is going on?" And so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much more to it. But in this tidbit that I'm sharing is in that case of the lawsuit for the emotional distress, they dropped a bombshell. They
Oh.
found a letter that was written by Brian Laundrie's mom in reference to bringing a shovel and burying a body. Now,
Wait, what
there
was
is
this? An
no
email
dispute.
or what?
A letter. It was a letter that they found in his belongings. The mom wrote him a letter, and it's in reference to bringing a shovel and burying a body. So there's no dispute that the letter was written. It's just a matter of when it was written that they're trying to figure out now. She also asked him to burn the letter after reading it. And so back in November, the Petitos and the Laundries, they settled a wrongful death suit with the Laundries for like $3 million. So it's just another twist and turn in that case.
Wow. Wow. I hope they win it. At the very least, I hope
I,
they win it.
I
At the
hope so
very
too,
least.
because had it been flip-flopped, those parents would have been doing the same exact thing. They would want to know where their son was, where their daughter was hiding. Had they knew all
Mhm.
along. And I feel like, based on this, on how they acted about this, I bet that they covered more things for him as he
Mm.
was growing up. This isn't like the first time that they covered something for him. I think there's probably a history or a pattern if you look back.
Mm.
And I'm going to read CPJ's comment
Go for
because
it.
she says the Bible also says that the husband is to love the wife as Christ loved the church. And Christ loved the church so much that nothing was above laying his human life down for holy purpose. So it literally says that a husband is to love a wife that much that she has enough respect to actually submit to him. Reading the second half is more important than the first half of that verse. Amen. Because we are guilty of just reading what we want to read and not reading the whole thing. So, yes, you're absolutely correct. And Joanne, he did hide. And I feel like his parents helped in his hiding.
Oh, I feel
And
like
Joanne
that's
said
that's
maybe.
I feel like absolutely they did. Like as far as I'm concerned,
Mm-hmm.
the parents and the son. And I remember I was talking with friends about this during that time, and my opinion, I was like, man, I would hate for my kids to be in a situation like that, but at the same time, I could not. I don't know. I really feel like it'd be one of those things. I'm like, I've told Sandy and Joe, I'm like, man, I hope y'all don't ever cheat on your spouse. I hope you don't ever do anything bad because the most I can promise you is 24 hours. After that, I've got to tell everyone because I cannot hold it in, guys. Okay, I can't. So I would hope that if my kids are doing something similar, I'm like, you can get 24 hours because that's all I could do. After that, it's like I'm gonna whoop you. And so, but
I've told my kids, I'm like, look, I don't look good in stripes. I don't look good in orange. I don't know what
yeah,
color these gels are doing these days.
I
Like,
can
if you
bring you
do something
ramen
wrong,
all the time. I don't
just
mind doing
know that
that.
I love you. I'll put money on your books,
Yeah,
but I ain't covering for you.
I'm not covering for you.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Nope. Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Nope.
No. No. No.
And Joanne says, I do too.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
my last little piece is a local piece that's going on right now, currently in jail. We have a local DJ who has been accused and found guilty of sexual abuse of his two stepdaughters. You know him as DJ Sancho. His real name is Charles Sanchez, I believe. I can't remember. It's too many names to keep up, almost like you. Look, CPJ says my kids do it. See ya, sucker. Exactly. Oh, and don't expect me to hire an attorney because no.
You can have the
No one
state
told you to
provided
do all
one.
that. Yeah, exactly. And then Sean said, "Run, kids." So anyway, he's been accused of sexual abuse of his two daughters, stepdaughters, excuse me. Earlier this week, he was sentenced to 2 years, and it could have been to where he got nothing because jury, the freaking jury violated their court order, and they were on social media. They were over there expressing emotions on the news stories that were being shed. And so, of course, the defense was
On the topic,
using that. Yeah, yeah,
on the
on his
case,
topic,
on
yes,
his case.
on
Okay.
the case, on his case. And
This
so
is
the defense tried to declare a mistrial, but thankfully, they didn't allow the mistrial. So he was sentenced to 2 years. But there's going to be an appeal. And honestly, I don't know how they did it, but I'm surprised that it wasn't declared a mistrial.
hmm hmm
I really am. I'm kind
It's
of
one of those times where I'm like,
surprised that it
man, I'm really
wasn't.
glad that the judge really. I don't know the details either, but because the judge is the one who has to rule. So if they came out and they were
Right.
like, we want to declare a mistrial and so throw the whole thing out, but they didn't, then that was because the one of two things: the judge either ruled that they weren't going to do that, or the opposing counsel made their case for why it couldn't be thrown out or shouldn't be. You know what I mean? And so it's going to be one of those
Yeah.
two. Yeah, and
So,
so he did get sentenced today for 2 years.
I want to say yesterday he got sentenced for 2 years. And then a lot of things that's left a lot of people pissed, scathing, reacting is the fact that that girl's mom continues to support him. Like she doesn't believe her daughters. And so she's getting a lot of backlash. So there's that other piece to that.
Oh my gosh, Sandy.
Yeah.
I can't even I hear the stories. I understand it. I can comprehend it from a logical standpoint. I get that piece, but then I'm like, you do understand that you are their parent, you are their blood relative, you birthed them, you are responsible for protecting them, and this happened. It was drawn in court. It's not even an accusation, it's accusation plus ruling equals sentencing. Amidst all of that, you can't. And what's painful here is you can't. I mean, excuse my words, because I can't. The words don't exist to convey the heart in its entirety of what I'm trying to convey. You can't tear the kids away from the mom now, because then it's like a double pain for the kids, right? And I know you
And
can. I
let me
know you
say this.
can.
And let me say this. The girls are older. So
So
it's
this
not
happened when they
like
were younger, and they're bringing it
they
up now,
were
kind
like
of thing.
14, 15, and then like it's been waiting to go to trial for a couple of
Sure.
years.
So
So I
now are
think they're like
they
19 and
18?
20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're like
Yeah, but still
yeah.
at that, like, it's even worse because now you're gonna
No,
get.
and it doesn't take anything
No,
away.
and
It just
yeah,
means
I'm not
like
saying
for
I don't
me,
think. Yeah.
I just
I
wanted
don't, and I didn't
you
think
to
you
know that
did.
they're
No,
not
no.
like 3 and 4.
Right. But I still think, like, because the effects at whatever age it happens at, they're long lasting, right? Like, you're talking about, so even from that point, right?
Yeah.
It's not
No,
like life is
totally.
over,
Mhm.
right? Life is not over. Those girls still have life to live. You know what I mean? Whether it's college, business, their
They
first
have life to
real
live
true
without their
loves,
mom's support.
right? And that's what I'm getting to. Like, there are people who have to live without their parents and wish they could have them back, right? Like, I know I was saying some stuff about my dad earlier, but at the end of life kind of situation, not even end of life, when I got married to Dr. Pineapples, my dad was a good man after that point. My dad was a reformed man. He was a repentant man, and I forgave him completely of all those things, and never for the days after held it against my father at any point. Okay. but so you those of us who've lost our parents, like when you go through this, what this goes to, like it's almost the same thing. You're still going to go through grief
Yeah.
because you're like you're going to want to go, right? So either you stay away from this parent who's making a trash human decision, or you put yourself in that situation again, only to know that one day you're probably going to get let down again, because if they were willing to do that during that time in your life. And maybe I'm just being the pessimistic that I feel like I am
You're
with
not.
them, but
I think everybody kind of echoes your sentiments regarding that, just because there's just been so many people that are like, you couldn't even defend your daughter. Yeah, no, there's a lot going on.
like my heart
Let me
just
read.
breaks for those daughters. Good Lord, I don't care how they are.
Yeah,
My heart is just hurting for them, because it's like, man, I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah. No, I get it. Joanne, hold on. CPJ says, how are the Grizzlies getting 19 years total for a money crime, yet this dude gets 2 for multiple sexual abuse charges? Listen, I don't know. I don't
You got to
know.
cover them next time, Sandy.
Yeah, Joanne says a lifetime of scars knowing the mom supported him. I mean, on top of what you have to endure, then your mom, I mean, you're losing your mom. CPJ says grieving the living, especially the living who are supposed to care for you in angrily unconditional way, is the worst kind of grief. Yeah.
I
And she's got to
agree.
live with that. She's got to live with that. Sean says Mr. THC and Miss THC. But anyway, guys, I'm so glad y'all stopped in here. Jamie, I'm so sorry that last
It's
one made
okay.
you I should have
It's
done
not
that
your
one
fault.
first and then finished up
Yeah.
strong
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the with the
Yeah.
59 years of marriage. But so I'm glad to be back. I hope to be able to continue to do my shows more regularly. And actually, I didn't even have enough time to actually get to the meat and potatoes of my show. Those were just supposed to be little mini updates, but I knew I was going to take way too long on explaining everything. So, if you guys want to be a guest on my show, let me know. I'd be glad to have you on. If you guys have topics for me, stories for me, something for me to watch, let me know, because I will watch it. And
Hey, and if you can, share tonight's episode. Share tonight's episode on your timelines, or
oh
at least
yes,
tag
do
one
that.
friend and just say, "Hey, give a listen to Sandy," and that way more people can hear from Sandy and get to know her and
Especially
things
your
like that.
true crime friends, and if they want to be on my
Yes,
show, that would be amazing.
yeah.
So I'm
Any
always looking for guests.
exposure is
I
helpful.
Yes, I'm always looking for guests. I kind of wanted like maybe like a permanent guest, like I mean not guest, a permanent host. So we'll see. We
Yes.
will see.
If you got ideas, or
Anyway,
hit
again,
her up.
yes, thank y'all so much for being on here. Enjoy y'all being in my comments. And y'all remember, stay talking sheet. Good night, everybody.